I don't want my kids being taught about, who they could in school. I don't want my kids being taught about, their sexual preference. Like, dude, this guy is the fucking enemy. You want to look at the fucking enemy to our world? It's that motherfucker right there.
Sean Strickland absolutely torches a woke communist propaganda machine reporter, but Sean Strickland lost the fight. Well, that's controversial, and he won something bigger than the fight. Let's check it out. Welcome back to the JP Reacts channel, my beautiful freedom-loving friend, where we like to call out the lies, hypocrisy, and corruption of tyrants and Satan, including Satan's worker, this reporter, shine the light of awareness on woke absurdities and highlight the amazing work of other freedom fighters. There is a new freedom fighter who is just saying truth. His name is Sean Strickland. He has stamped his face on the Mount Mother Rushmore of freedom fighters. Here's all you need to do to be a freedom fighter who is potent nowadays. You say what's true. And that's what Sean Strickland did. Now, in a second, we're going to watch a clip of him with a reporter. But we're also going to hear, what does Dana White have to say about his now former champ saying completely politically incorrect things on a UFC microphone? I think Dana White's stance probably won't surprise you in the best way possible. And also, what does Joe Rogan have to say about that? And Sean Strickland lost the fight. What does that mean? And he was saying these things about communist Canada. What does Canada think of Sean Strickland? You're going to see that. I think you might be surprised. Starting with Sean Strickland at the pre-fight press conference in Toronto, Canada, where a reporter kind of sashays his way up to the microphone to ask a question, and really most likely thinking, I'm going to ask him a gotcha question. I'm going to put him in a trap. Well, you don't try to put a grizzly bear in a trap, because not only can the grizzly bear trap you, but he's just going to maul you. And Sean Strickland is, in fact, the grizzly bear in this dynamic.
You're in Toronto. Welcome. Glad to hear it. It's been great.
Are you Canadian?
Of course I am.
Are you part of the fucking opposition? Are you?
I don't know how to phrase that.
You got yeah.
Well, I did want to ask you.
Did you vote for Trudeau?
I like how just before he even lets the reporter get the question out, Strickland wants to know where the reporter stands. Are you part of the opposition? Well, I don't know. Well, did you vote for Trudeau? Because that's going to tell me if you're part of the opposition or not.
I'm not going to say.
And let me tell you something right now. If a man says he's not going to say, like if you ask him, motherfucker, did you vote for Biden? He's like, well, I'm not going to say. That's none of your business. He voted for fucking Biden.
Sean, I'm glad you've had great experiences.
So this is what I'm talking about, you guys. The enemy of Canada.
Sure.
All right.
That's what it's got to be. It's got to be.
I like how Sean Strickland will not be bulldozed. He will not be BS'd. He will not let a weak man try to weasel his way out of a question when that weak weasel is trying to get him with a question. Like, this is just man stuff right here. By the way, feminists, if you happen to be watching this video with me, and if you are, I am shocked you subscribe to my channel, but thank you very much. Let me know what you think of Sean Strickland's shirt. A woman in every kitchen, a gun in every hand. Sean Strickland 2024. Feminists, let me know in the comments below if you like his shirt or if you're not on board with it. I'd be curious what you think.
We've got a pretty supportive gay and lesbian community in this city. I did want to ask you about something you wrote a couple of years ago. You said, if I had a gay son, I would think I'd...
Oh, look, another, I'm saying to you, the swamp, you guys, the swamp.
You become a champion, you become a star, and some would say...
Let me ask you something. Are you gay?
Have you had the chance to interact with a more diverse
crowd? Let me know, are you gay?
Could I get an answer?
Well, no, I'm asking, this is the part of, are you...
This is a man who's taking control of a situation where the reporter's trying to control him, clearly. But this is however Sean Strickland does jujitsu and kickboxing, he is used to taking control of a situation. And he's just doing this at a psychological level right now with a weak weasel.
Are you a gay man?
I'm an ally of the community.
Okay. If you had a son and he was you had a son, he was gay, you'd be like, oh man, you don't want a grandkid?
No problem with it.
Oh man, well, dude, you're a weak fucking man, dude. You're part of the fucking problem. You elected Justin Trudeau. When he sees the bank accounts, you're just fucking pathetic.
Shout out to the Canadian trucker convoy. I love how Sean Strickland doesn't let that slide. This reporter obviously is part of the propaganda machine of the Trudeau government. Trudeau government did absolute tyranny is doing tyranny. And it was just beyond tyrannous what they did, shutting down the bank accounts of not only the trucking convoy, freedom-loving Canadians, but people who donated to that. So I love that Strickland is just on the ball. He's like, yep, if this is the game we're playing, then let's remember these facts, you opposition.
And the fact that you have no fucking backbone and has he shut down your fucking country and seized bank accounts, you ask me some stupid like that, go fuck yourself. Move the fuck on, man.
I feel like that didn't really answer the question, but I did want to ask also things you said about the trans community.
Well, that didn't really answer the question, but let me ask you about the trans community. Dude, this reporter, like, how well did that first question go that you didn't even get out? Because you're like too weak and manipulative and too much of a useful idiot to actually get out a well worthwhile question. Therefore, this Sean Strickland just shuts you down. So it's like, well, that obviously didn't go poorly. Let me ask him about the trans community. See if I can paint him into a transphobe while I'm here on the mic. See how Sean Strickland allows that to happen or not.
You said this past October when they announced the Bud Light sponsorship that you'd go so hard on Bud Light in your next fight they'll have to accept me or denounce me when they know what and will know what they stand for. Are you
this guy's like, hey, this Canadian's not that Canadian.
Are you still going to use your fight time to kind of speak on that?
Here's the thing about Bud Light. 10 years ago, to be trans was a mental illness,
And now, is it better to treat a mental illness or affirm the mental illness? Like, if you broke your leg, would you want your broken leg treated, or would you want your broken leg affirmed? Oh, you're broken. That's who you are. Let's make sure you stay broken. Let's break it more. Potentially the same thing.
now all of a sudden people like you have fucking weaseled your way into the world.
I love this.
You are an infection. You are the definition of weakness. Everything that is wrong with the world is because of fucking you. And the best thing is the world's not buying it. The world's not buying your fucking bullshit you're fucking peddling. The world is not saying, you know what? You're right. Chicks have dicks. The world's not saying that. The world's saying, no, there are two genders. I don't want my kids being taught about, who they could fuck in school. I don't want my kids being taught about, their sexual preference. Like, dude, this guy is the fucking enemy. You want to look at the fucking enemy to our world? It's that motherfucker right there.
Wow. Like, if I can speak for you for a second, and I can't, but I'm going to pretend like I can. I think Sean Strickland is actually speaking for all of us right now. He is saying what we all think. He's maybe saying more than you and I, potentially saying it less than you or I might say it also, but he is just saying common sense stuff. There is nothing controversial about this. There is something made up controversial about it. There's propaganda that aims to frame this as controversial. It is just simply common sense. It is truth. People around the world are praising Sean Strickland. He was the champ in the UFC, and he's lost his belt in the past week, done this press conference in the past week. His star power is now greater because of this press conference than the amount of star power he gained from winning the belt, simply because people around the world are being represented by him saying these common sense, truth-based things. Here's a secret. If you want to become a potent freedom fighter who people will listen to, boldly, fiercely, say what you think. And ideally, think for yourself. That way, your thoughts are going to be more aligned with truth than they will be with narratives and propaganda.
Asking these stupid questions. Sorry, I told the UFC I was being nicer. Lance, am I still good with this? Did I cross any lines? A little. What the fuck? I didn't say the F word.
He just said it, which is great.
You just brought this fucking guy in here to piss me off.
You just did, but just to follow up, I mean, Rick.
Did I say it?
You just did.
No, I didn't say it.
Right there, you did.
Different F word. Different. Yeah, I'm trying.
Which was kind of comical. Sean, I didn't fucking say the F word. I didn't say it. Strickland was thinking of another F word. Use your imagination. 3-letter F word.
I'm trying to be good, man. I'm trying to be good. I like the fucking gays. Listen, I've never. You guys think I've ever shit on a gay man or shit on a gay one? I don't fuck.
Which, by the way, right now there's media, propaganda media all over trying to frame Sean Strickland as homophobic. Cool. You can take someone else's word for his thoughts, or you can take his thoughts literally out of his mouth right now. He said, "I like fucking gays." He doesn't like any sexualization of children. He doesn't like hallucinating genders, and then pretending that we should make someone else's imagination about that our reality. He seems to like truth.
And I like the gays. It's freedom. We still have it in America. We'll teach you about it. You guys don't have fucking freedom of speech. I'm surprised what I'm saying is probably I'm probably gonna get the fucking Canadian government to arrest me. So I don't give a fuck who you fuck. I don't give a fuck what you want to do in life. But don't fucking tell kids about it. Don't teach that shit in fucking school. Don't fucking push your agenda. Don't try to fucking brainwash people. Don't try to go past parents. Don't try to go past all this shit and brainwash people, you fucking cuck.
So, Sean Strickland is an American heavily calling out the communist regime in charge of Canada, and he was heavily calling out the useful idiots that are helping usher in communism in Canada because they're too weak to stand up for anything on principle. So you might think, well, he's an American saying this about Canada to a Canadian in Canada. Canada must hate the guy. Well, in an arena full of 18,000 people, mostly Canadians, that's in Toronto, Canada, listen to what the crowd starts chanting during Strickland's fight card. Well, as you can also see from this headline, UFC fans are definitely not fond of Justin Trudeau. Serenade Canadian Prime Minister with Trudeau chant. Makes me nostalgic for the olden days when we had the FJB chant going on here in America, So, by the way, Canada, I hold nothing against you for kind of plagiarizing our chant towards leftist communists who infiltrate our government. It's a chant that you need to use more often. So, well, okay, turns out Canada, at least this 18,000 person cross-section of Canada, is pretty on board with what Strickland said, what he stood for, not what the reporter was propagating. Okay. And just food for thought. He is a thought leader. He's one of the most powerful men in America, one of the most powerful men in the world. He's also a UFC expert. What did Joe Rogan have to say about all this? Well, take a look at this clip of Rogan's podcast. He was doing a fight companion, which if you're not familiar with that, he's got some of his friends in the room with him. They've got the UFC fight. They're watching it, and they're just talking about the fights on a podcast while they happen. And the Trudeau chant breaks out. Let's see Rogan's thoughts.
Trudeau.
I was at the UFC.
Yelling Trudeau.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
That guy's
Canada,
a piece of shit.
Canada, get your shit together. Come back. Come back to what you used to be.
And before we hear what UFC President Dana White has to say about Sean Strickland and his example of standing on principles, just one more example of how Canada lovingly embraced Sean Strickland. This is him in the octagon after he lost. Again, it was a controversial decision, but he just lost the fight. Usually they don't get a hell of a lot of cheers, but keep in mind this is just a couple days after Strickland torched this woke communist propaganda machine of a reporter.
Before I get here, we have to get this first set. Canada, I love you guys. You welcome me. I feel like you guys are my family. I told you I would bleed for you, and I bled for you, and I would do it any day of the week.
Well, it seems like Canada really loves him and does not love Trudeau. Interesting. We, the people, hold the power. We need to remember that as Americans and Canadians. Now, UFC President Dana White, one of his absolute stars, in a press conference holding a UFC mic, he said the most politically incorrect things that, of course, should be censored. They should never be expressed in public, let alone on company property during a company interview. Do you have to bow down to the woke mob out of obedience and cowardice to run a successful company? Dana White objectively runs a very successful company. Let's see if Dana White is a bow down in obedience or a bravery kind of guy. Take a look.
Dana, I just want to go back. You were talking about you obviously give a long leash to your fighters about, what they can say when they are up there with a UFC microphone and you are getting into territory of homophobia, transphobia. Like, is there...
I don't give anybody a leash.
Well, I'm saying you...
The beautiful thing right here is Dana White, much like Sean Strickland, didn't even let the whole question come out because the question was fabricated on BS, like kind of implying, well, you give people a leash. And he thinks about it as like, leash? I don't give anybody a leash. A leash, that's not very First Amendment. I got to cut you off right there, buddy, and make a correction. Go on, Dana.
A leash? Free speech. And control what people say. Going to tell people what to believe. Going to tell people. I don't fucking tell any other human being what to say, what to think, and there's no leashes on any of them. What is your question?
I was asking that question. I'll move on, though.
Yeah, probably a good idea. That's ridiculous to say I give somebody a leash. Free speech, brother. People can say whatever they want and they can believe whatever they want. And I don't think there's any. We had two gay women who fought in the co-main event. They sat on the stage with Sean Strickland. They could give a shit what Sean Strickland thinks, or what he says, or what his beliefs are, or what his opinions are. You know what I mean? Go ahead. What do you got?
Now, to this woke reporter's credit, unlike the woke reporter who was asking Sean Strickland the questions, this woke reporter realized he was in his place. He's like, well, I was going to ask about that, but I guess we'll move on, Dana White. That's probably a good idea, buddy. Real men and real women who take no BS, who stand on principles, stand on truth, no matter what. They do it when it's easy to do, and they especially do it when it's hard to do. These brave, bold men and women, fierce men and women who are also loving, they're the reason why I have hope for our country and our world. I love it. I'm inspired by both Dana White and Sean Strickland. Maybe you are too, but nonetheless, let me know your thoughts in the comments, what you thought about this whole Sean Strickland exchange. Love to hear what you think. You are not on a leash, by the way. Let me know what you think, one way or another, whether you disagree or agree or somewhere in the middle. I love you. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you on our next one. But first, I do have a special, incredibly non-woke message for you. Hi, I'll tell you something. I truly believe that health equals freedom. That's why I think it's important to create little freedom rituals throughout our day, which are little quick activities that give us a boost of health, which ultimately increases our freedom. And my favorite freedom ritual involves taking the Awaken CBD oil tincture. I always take it about an hour before bed to help me wind down. I also take it immediately post-workout, and then throughout the day if I'm feeling a little anxious and stressed. This little freedom ritual helps me maintain my mental and physical health, and therefore my freedom. And if you want to create a freedom ritual in your life with Awaken CBD, it's never been easier now with Awaken CBD's Subscribe and Save membership. With Subscribe and Save, you get 25% off your first order, 15% off all future reoccurring orders, and you get free shipping. And there's exclusive perks. You get first access to new products, flavors, VIP sales, and more. And Subscribe and Save is fully flexible. You can skip orders, make adjustments, or cancel your subscription at any time. Subscribe and Save makes it easy to bring a freedom ritual into your life without having to think about it. To join me and the rest of the Awaken CBD family in the Subscribe and Save membership, just go to awakencbd.com/join, and I'll see you on the inside.